framework that is built on it should have it. So, we should be able to solve that problem. Or when you start to integrate the frameworks together and you start to put things on top of each other, you have some kind of context. So I feel I've done one of my parts, which is I've put outside, basically a model that can be extended. So, it's like you want to do Python, it's doable now, right? It's like all you need now to do is 2 modules, and then you have actually all the infrastructure. So my hope is exactly that, we trigger that kind of community-driven development. So when I need to have velocity support, I don't have to write it. I just go to the guys who wrote velocity and download the parser, and that gives me visibility to it. When I give, any kind of things that gets thrown to me, I can implement it. So that's my hope. So I hope that, with this, we can kickstart that process and really have a kind of more community-driven, source code scanning environment.
So it's like, it sounds like you're kind of touching around the key point here. You've mentioned a couple things that are related to what I'm going to ask here, but do you think we need to start moving towards writing code that's designed to be statically analyzed, as opposed to trying to make our tools work for the code?
See, that is a very key point. One of the things that I realized, it's sort of like, let's solve a problem at a time. So yeah, if I'm given a client, the way John is describing, which is really mature, really wants to make a difference, of course I'm going to say, you know what, if you can add metadata to your code, if you can start to describe from a business point of view what your code is supposed to do, I can do such much better job, right? If you can tell in your code where your assets are, so I can actually know where they are. If you can mark your code, your authorization models, your authentication models, so I can scan for it. And what's interesting is that some of the frameworks are doing that. What I think nobody is doing is visualizing that stuff. So even like, there's these things where you can use these XML files or these attributes to map up particular things, but that without a visualizer doesn't really work. So my ultimate, I think, kind of model is that, of course, we should be getting the application to actually self-describe itself. In fact, we should have models that force the applications to describe itself. And if they don't describe it, it doesn't work. Like, if I can't model, there's no input arriving on it. If you tell us you want a string, guess what? You're not getting anything. Or if you tell me you want a string with this validator, then I'm going to give you something. So what I like about the fact is that there's a whole raft of discussions that can happen now, because we can be talking about models and paths and code flows, right? My 4-year argument with Microsoft, right, which I'm sparing you guys, this couple of years, is like sandboxing, partial trust, right? Why don't we have it? Why don't we, why everything runs with full trust? Even the Java sandbox is a joke these days, because it's like, can I own you, please? Yes, great. Right? It's like, but I understand their problem. The problem is that they can't model. There's no easy way to look at a Java applet or a .NET applet and immediately get an accurate thread model or understanding of what the hell is going on in there. So at the moment, it's like, well, everybody does it. It's cool. It's still under control. The user said yes, so it's his fault. So good, right? So this, in my view, it's like that's the next problem I want to solve. Like, I want to solve the static stuff. There's still a bunch of things I want to add. And once this kind of matures a bit more, I want to look at sandboxing. And I want to use this to dynamic sandboxing, sandboxes that can have context, right? Why the Firefox plugin don't have a freaking sandbox, right? The gadgets, it's everywhere. This world where you just have this thing that goes from there, and then you said yes, so it's your fault, and then poof, they go. Full access to your resources. So I think there's some very interesting stuff that's happening, so please help me contribute. It's open source, right? Apache 2 license, so you can actually use it on your products or whatever, the limitations that don't exist with Apache 2. So please contribute, and we need to talk. Cool.
All right, thanks, Dinis. And we'll be setting up quickly for the next talk for Veershan.